Trump's Scotus pick Neil Gorsuch has liberals shaking in their boots. Landmark case by Dan Lindsay, Politics U.S. News for MadWorldNews.com. President Donald Trump's first appointee to the Supreme Court of the United States, Neil Gorsuch, has liberals shaking in their boots as he gets ready to drop an earth-shaking decision in one of the biggest landmark cases in 40 years. You don't want to miss this. According to the Daily Caller, American patriots will soon very likely have reason to celebrate as Neil Gorsuch holds what many consider to be the deciding vote in one of the landmark cases of the U.S. Supreme Court's term. The case being heard by the Supreme Court on Monday, February 26, 2018, is a challenge to the constitutionality of mandatory union fees. It's estimated that there are over 5 million government employees who are forced by law to pay dues to public sector unions. In the past, the Supreme Court has been evenly divided over the constitutionality of forced dues. Now that Gorsuch is on the scene, it's a whole new ballgame. And liberals are terrified of the likelihood that he will vote to end mandatory union fees. Gorsuch, who holds the fifth and likely deciding vote, could end mandatory union fees, which would devastate numerous public unions across the country and all but dry up the main source of their political power. I can just see the snowflakes melting over this now. Liberal tears will run like raging rivers if the corrupt ruling for mandatory union fees is overturned. The unconstitutional ruling, which has lasted over 40 years, was made in a case called Abood versus Detroit Board of Education. In that 1977 ruling, the Supreme Court decided that labor bosses are allowed to collect union dues from public employees since union negotiations represent all government workers. Even if the government employees are not union members, their money is still taken automatically for the purposes of collective bargaining. The 1977 ruling also prohibits the union from using the fees collected from government employees for political purposes like electioneering. Obviously, unions couldn't care less about that part of the law, as many of them spend obscene amounts of money to buy political influence. This is why critics of the Abood ruling think that the Supreme Court needs to overturn it and restore the constitutional rights of government employees. Notably, a significant number of government employees do not agree with the political activities of the unions who are taking their money every month. Those fees typically generate tens of millions of dollars for the unions every year, and losing that cash cow will starve them and the liberal politicians they own. In recent years, several justices spoke out about concerns over mandatory union dues in two separate labor cases argued between 2012 and 2014. The court seemed as if it was on the edge of overturning Abood in January of 2016 when it heard a direct First Amendment challenge to the mandatory union dues practice. Sadly, Justice Anton Scalia, passed away just 1 month after the arguments in that case, which was called Fredericks versus CTA. With Scalia gone, the remaining 8 justices deadlocked on the matter, and a binding ruling was never issued, according to Fox News. After Justice Gorsuch was confirmed, the Supreme Court agreed to revisit the issue for the purpose of reaching a definitive decision. The new case, which was heard on Monday, February 26, 2018, is called Janus versus American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. This case sprang out of Illinois, when plaintiff Mark Janus, who is a child support specialist, filed a suit claiming that the mandatory fees collected from him violate his First Amendment rights. Although Mark Janus is not a member of AFSCME, he still has $600 taken from his paycheck every year. Notably, Janus disagrees with a variety of political positions taken by the union and would rather not have his hard-earned money taken from him for such purposes. This should be a no-brainer. Neil Gorsuch is almost 100% sure to vote to overturn Abood and send the liberal world into an all-out panic. It's time for liberals to stop freeloading off of hardworking Americans like Janus. If they want money to spend on slimy politicians, let them go to work. Get out and work for it. I agree with that. And that's, they didn't want Scalia in there. No way, no how. That's why they took him out there. And I guarantee you, they're not going to like this decision one bit. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.